Hey guys, it's Emma. I just wanted to pop on and give you an apology myself. The audio on this episode is not very good. I was so worried about making sure that Darren and Randy were all set up that I forgot to check to see if my own microphone was on. And fun fact, it was not. So, bear with me as this episode's audio is a little rough, but we hope you guys enjoy anyway.
Welcome to Cue the Mic. Hey, Randy, that's your...
You introduced
Normally
yourself.
you say
though.
your name.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, I'm Darren Worth. Everybody ought to know that by now.
And I'm Randy Twyford. That's it.
And I'm Emma Derflinger, and this is episode 58.
58 at Cue the Mic.
Yep.
Wow. Rough start to the day.
Okay.
Well, no, I think
Just
it just starts at the top of the hill, and then it'll go on down. It'll be smooth as
It
silk.
goes
The rest of
downhill
it.
from here. Yeah, I was
It
just...
goes
no,
downhill
just
from
tell-
here, is what it sounds
No,
like.
I didn't.
I was just telling
fuck
them
it,
I got my morning workout in, and they were both laughing. And I'm like, I did get my morning workout in. I had about 10 fence posts I had to go pull, and I had to pound 10 more fence posts in, and because my lovely bride wanted some on our north driveway. You know, we park all our company vans along there, and of course we're busier than shit right now, and so we got vans coming and going all hours of the day. Well, you know, there's never enough parking during the carryout, so people pull up right behind, so you can't pull out the van. They park alongside on the north side. And, you know, if you've got a company van that's right parked there, why would you park right 10 feet behind them so they can't get out? Right.
Dumbass.
So
That's just a
and
dumbass.
all these, it's just a dumbass move. Part of it, the other day I was trying to pull out and do something, and I almost just rammed the son of a bitch. I just almost rammed him and just said, oh, sorry. Oh, you didn't know I was going to back out? But so now I had to go pull out all these poles, which half of them have been hit 50 times by the company vans. And I moved them, put new poles in about a foot back, so maybe they won't hit them. And then I installed no parking signs on all of them to make my bride happy. Got that all done. And then I had to go put some, we had a pin that I had to install on our patio. We have a section of our patio that comes out if we want, so we can haul stuff in. We've never hauled anything in, but they've got them old hitch pins like on a wagon.
Yeah.
In there to hold them in place. Well, evidently the farmers like those because they've been stealing them.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, the hitch pins have been disappearing. So
now that's
now
at the restaurant or church or your house?
At the restaurant.
I was going to say, some bitches better not be stealing from the house.
No, so they're stealing from the restaurant. So anyway,
I could believe that.
You know, hey, that's a nice looking hitch pin. So anyway, we decided to put some bolts in place. At least have to get their wrench out. Well, Sherry tried to get the bolts in and she couldn't get one in, so it just needed a little attitude adjustment this morning. So just needed a really big fucking hammer is what it needed. So I got that in.
Do you know what the correct terminology for one of those hitch pin things that you're talking about? Is it the round one that flips over and snaps down?
No.
Oh,
this is
just
the
a
big
regular
one. Like when you're backing up to a Parker gravity box wagon,
yeah. Okay. Never mind. I was thinking something else.
And then I had to finalize we're doing our once annual grill out on Monday for Iowa State football. And so, you know, Thursday I thought, wow, I knew I was going out of town. So I'm going to get a step on this grill because this grill always has problems. So I'm like, I'm going to get a step on it. So I went and got the grill out of the storage lot, and it's just a 6-foot gas Holstein grill. And so I pulled it back to the restaurant, and I thought, well, I'm going to open the top up, get some propane tanks on it, light it up. And so I opened the top up and I looked down, and all I see was ground, and whole bottom was
Holy
rusted
fuck.
out of this grill. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I'm like, well, I'm not going to grill on this. And I'm like, well, I really don't have another option. My only other option was, and I'm going to be out of town. So my other option was to give him my $10,000 Jambo and have him put charcoal in the bottom of the damn thing. And I'm like, God, I just don't feel like screwing up that pit.
No.
So I thought, well, maybe I'll call the sheet metal guy and get some pieces of sheet metal and screw it to what's left at the bottom. So I did that on Friday. I had a little meeting down in southern Iowa first thing Friday morning. So I called the sheet metal guy and said, hey, can you cut me some sheet metal and whatever? I picked it up Friday afternoon, got that all installed Friday night, and got everything back in place. And so this morning I got her all hooked up, and I went to light it up, and of course one of the gas lines is leaking and shit.
Oh shit!
Blowing flame everywhere. But I got it lit enough to tell them how to light it and not blow up anybody. So
well, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
but
all OSHA.
Just remind all OSHA approved. Just remind me that we're not doing any damn more grilling events. This son of a bitch needs to. I'm gonna donate it to Goodwill, or I need to donate it to some place that doesn't care if their employees get blown up.
That sounds like a winner to me. I'd get. Yeah. That son of a bitch would find a new home as far as I'm concerned. I've got one. I've actually got a cover, not a Holstein. I forget what brand it is, but I haven't used it. But it's got a cover on it and everything. So,
how much?
How much? What?
Is it gas?
No, it's charcoal.
Charcoal?
Yeah,
how
it's
much?
one of those ones that I forget. I bought it from Lambert.
Meadow Creek?
Meadow Creek. It's a Meadow Creek on a trailer. Top flips up. You can cook a whole hog in it, and you can. We use it for grilling and stuff every now and then if we need to, but we don't. But I was smart for once. I bought a cover for it and actually keep it on there, and all bungee corded down. Yeah, that's pretty fucking like me, but that's so. I'm always going to use it for something, but never do, because then I don't. You got to have 2 extra people to grill, run the truck or grill in it, and I might use it.
I'll give you $500 for it right now.
God damn, you're rich.
I'm just being fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'll pass for right now, but I'll keep that back in the file cabinet.
Cash.
Jesus.
I can't do cash because I tell you what, everything I do runs through the government, runs through the books, and goes through the government. So don't fiddle fuck try to get me in trouble, because that's all you're trying to do is get me. Have the guys in the suits open up the door. Hello, No, we don't want that bullshit. No, I think I paid $2,500 for it.
Oh, well, see, $500.
Getting more, that'd get me more good out of it than I'm getting now. But it didn't hurt. It's kind of like all the rest of the shit sitting around here. My theory is it isn't hurting anything, so might as well just keep it.
$500, and I'll help you change the fan blades on the EDX when I come get it.
Whew, now you've really sweetened the pots up. We may have to talk off air.
Randy's not very good at maintenance. But anyway, back to podcasting. Anything interesting, Emma, in your world today, in this week, or no? You just same old graphically schoolwork?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's honest. Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Yep. Wake up, go to the gym, work, go to bed.
Oh, back on the gym, huh?
Never left.
Never
Actually,
left? I thought you were off the gym thing for a while.
Nope, I never stopped going. I just stopped dieting as aggressively. Actually, I got asked to become an instructor.
Of
so
what?
we might try that. Strength training and kickboxing.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
At the gym.
Yeah. We'll see. But Free membership.
I've been dieting aggressively this week after my doctor told me I was fat.
Well,
or he told me I needed to lose weight.
There you go. What? They do it in a nice way.
So I'm telling you, this new medicine is crazy.
Have you lost your appetite?
Yeah, from day one.
Oh shit!
Totally lost my appetite. I mean, I'm down 14 pounds since Monday.
Wow.
Since Monday?
Yeah. 14 pounds since Monday.
Emma, there's a dog behind you. Emma, there's a dog behind you. I know,
that got her attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane.
I haven't eaten more than 1,400 calories. I get 1,600 calories in a day, but
you gotta force it.
But I have to I'm forcing 1,400 calories. Tell you the truth.
Wow.
Zero. The only time I'm really eating now is when my body feels like I'm weak, that I need to feed it some energy.
Sure.
Right.
Which is good, but
it's technically when you're so.
Trust me. Randy and I had this conversation. When I change the size of clothes, they're not going to the yard sale. They're going to go right back in the closet because I know how this works.
I don't know. You might be surprised this go around.
But hey, if I could choose a little, this one's a little different because it's not self-done. It's doctor kind of
it's doctor
after my
enforced.
ass.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something about these taking those clothes to the garage sale. And I'm speaking from experience.
Okay.
You can take this to the bank. Don't do it. Don't get rid of them. Because if you don't get rid of them, I believe you always have them and you won't gain the weight back because you don't want to go back into that. But
see,
listen to me, Emma. Let me finish.
I got the second my clothes stopped fitting, I got rid of them so that I would never.
Then you're fucked.
I would never. Once I realized, these are getting what fits me now is getting too tight or something. I knew that was a sign that I had to start taking everything serious again. Because I don't want to grow out of the clothes I have.
That's true, but
I'm gonna wear these big clothes.
Oh yeah.
Till somebody says, "What in the fuck? You got a dress on?"
They'll go.
But here's my plan. I'm going to Canada. We're going to Florida this week, which will be easy because Sherry and I always eat really good in Florida. We do. We eat a simple breakfast and then we usually eat fish at night. So it's super easy to do when we're in Florida. But then the week after, I'm going to Canada fishing. Now that's a little bit different, right? Even though it's not bad. So my plan is if I can lose 20 pounds before I go to Canada and then gain 10 back when I get to Canada, I'll still be down 10 when I go to the doctor the week I get back. And he'll go, "Wow, great job.
Wow, you're kicking ass." Yeah, exactly.
No.
I think you've got it figured out, D.
No?
No, you got to stay on track. Discipline, Darren. Discipline.
Yeah, but homemade biscuits every morning, especially when you're the guy making the biscuits.
You're not going to be as hungry, so you can have one. You don't have to have 3 or 4.
You're right. Well, and I can't have the sausage gravy because of the damn
lactose
milk
intolerant
thing. So, I told the guys, I said, "Hey, we're probably going to take a few vegetables along because that's my problem. Sherry doesn't like really any vegetables, and I love the shit out of vegetables.
Sure.
So I could just kind of almost become a vegetarian with throwing a chicken breast or a pork chop, and I'd be good for life."
That's not becoming a vegetarian.
But the hardest thing, and it's a mind thing. So I had a meeting down in Southern Iowa on this building I'm building down there on Friday morning. And so I'm driving and I stopped to get a coffee on the way down, and you stop at the convenience store. And what's the first thing you do? I stopped and got a coffee. Well, you got to get a snack because you've always got a damn snack at the convenience store. And I'm like, I just always done that, and it used to be, you get a candy bar, or donut, or a breakfast sandwich, even though you may have just ate breakfast. And so then it switched to I would get a protein bar. Well, now I'm like, walk in and instantly I'm like, oh, I need to get something to eat, even though I didn't need anything to eat.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get a couple hard-boiled eggs. So that's been my, if you start to crave something, just get a hard-boiled egg. So I got a couple hard-boiled eggs. I was fine. And then on the way back, I had to stop, take a leak. I'm like, oh, God, I'm at a convenience store. Oh, 2 more hard-boiled eggs. So I think I'm going to turn into a hard-boiled egg. No, not bothering me a bit.
Really? Well, that's
not bothering me
I
a
don't know
bit.
if I mean,
No.
that's a good approach. You know what you should really have as a snack instead of a hard-boiled egg is cucumbers. They're better for you. Did you know those are natural caffeinators?
Okay. Well, so tell me where you buy those in a damn convenience store.
I don't know.
Now, I did have dill pickles last week because you can buy them in the convenience store. And I know I could pack cucumbers with me, but I'm always on the move. It's like it's just that's the problem with convenience stores. There's nothing healthy to eat. I'm already thinking forward to. I got up this morning, had a nice healthy breakfast, and then we're going to get on this plane this afternoon. I'm like, well, normally you get a bag of chips and a Coke or whatever, and I'm like thinking about, okay, what am I going to have? Because there's nothing healthy in an airport.
Right.
Get a beef stick.
Yeah, but beef sticks still a lot of calories.
Yeah, but they're good. It's a good protein. It's a good protein.
It is a good protein.
Listen.
I'm not counting proteins. I'm counting calories.
Oh well, protein
I'm counting calories. Doctor doesn't give a shit
when you
what
have
I eat.
good healthy calories. It's
as long
different.
as I eat my calories. Right now, that's his approach to start. I understand because I said, "What about macros?" He said, "I don't give a shit about your macros."
Macros are so difficult.
He said, "I don't give a shit about your macros. Eat whatever you want. Just eat 1,600 calories." Right. And so like the other day, Sherry's like, I don't want a pork chop, whatever. I said, you want a smash burger? So I made us 2 smash burgers, right? Double smash burgers. I didn't put cheese on it, but I put a shit pot full of lettuce on it. I put a little tablespoon of burger sauce on it. And it was just amazing. And it was all 500 about calories, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big thing that they push. Is like, you don't want to completely give up good stuff, but you have to balance it. So you shouldn't have a bunch of it, but you should have a little bit, and then also save room for a healthy snack later.
Right. Okay, enough about this health podcast.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
Let's talk about something else because I'm getting hungry. No, I'm not. I'm not getting hungry.
You're not.
The crap about this shit. I haven't been hungry at all. It's crazy.
I am gonna disclose. I think I'm having internet issues.
Make it there, Emma?
Yeah, I'm fine. I am having internet issues though. So if I just stall out for a second, I'll come back and everything's still working. Nobody panic.
Okay, if you stall out, then we're going to talk about you, so you won't be able to hear us.
Yeah, but I'll just edit it out later. I'll still be able to do that, unless it's positive and about how great I am. Then I'll probably keep it in. But just if I stall, that's fine.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, it is.
Sounds good.
It's the weather, man. My internet's all whack.
What about your week? Return to the Circle K.
Return to the Circle K, and it was fabulous. It was like we never missed a beat. Matter of fact, we picked up a couple beats, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Never had anybody complain, we had a couple people go, well, I thought you were down there. No, we moved back here. Okay. Kind of like we were talking about, it wasn't very far from the Circle K to the food truck park, but nobody said anything about, nobody followed that one. But time they like, oh, it's just around the corner. So yeah, we found you, So yeah, we had a great week. And so we pretty well proved that we need to stay at the Circle K, and it's always an experience there.
Always an experience.
Well, sometimes they don't have the best clientele that come in and out of there, like any other convenience store,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of entertaining, actually. So yeah, we had a good week. Good week.
Can only imagine. Nobody drove our truck off a cliff, so they don't listen very well. But
There's not really many cliffs to drive them off of here.
By God, we're searching for one though.
Do you find any
Now
buyers?
you want to sell that for $500? Oops, I better.
Let me call Sherry.
Hell, I can barely staff one, let alone staff two. You know.
Yeah, no kidding.
We were talking about that at dinner the other day, and my mom brought it up in front of JJ, who's a big foodie, and he was like, "Oh, well, maybe I should buy a food truck." And my mom and I were like, "No, you should not buy a food truck. But if you wanted to, we know a guy."
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, here. Yeah, I tell you what, JJ, you buy a food truck, and all you have to do is you have to do the rest of my events that I'm doing. Then you can do whatever the hell you want, but I'll pay you to do my events for the rest of the year.
He'd probably be tempted, to be honest. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he just moved back. Let's give him a chance to get himself settled in first.
I do have a lead. I got a buddy that owns that I do business with, that he was looking for a food truck to park right outside his business.
Oh, okay.
And just leave it there.
Right.
He's got a school across the street and whatever, so we're going to start talking about that and see if we can't find a home for it, because that's really what it needs. It's a great truck. Yeah. It runs. I mean, it runs. We had 2 great events this week, and it's just having somebody to drive this sucker and having somebody to, it's just tough.
The staffing.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah, which is just an issue for everybody.
Well, it's like, one of the gals that was driving it, she goes, "Am I really supposed to drive this in L1?" And I said, "What?" She goes, "Well, yeah, I was taught, you go from D to L2 to L1 and you're supposed to drive it in L1. I'm like, "No." I said, "That's low gear." And she goes, "Yeah, I couldn't get over 35 mile an hour." And I'm like, "Yeah, I about blew the engine up too." No.
God damn. Oh my.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the stuff I deal with. That's stuff I deal with. It's kind of like the last two Saturdays, crazy busy, right? Crazy graduation busy. And we lost power again yesterday.
Did you really?
We lost the phase of power. And so they called and
Why?
said, "We lost power to the building." And I'm like, "Did you lose it to the whole building or just kitchen?" "We lost it to the whole building." I'm like, "Oh, shit." So I get on the phone with Mid-American. And then they call back and said, "Oh, no, it's just the kitchen." I said, "Okay, well, go in here. It's this breaker that's tripped." So they go into the big breaker, because we got 3-phase power, and one of the 200 amp breakers, we just got too much shit on the kitchen breaker.
Right.
And we're running too much shit at the same time. So they flipped it back and the power came back on. Well, then 15 minutes later, it tripped again, but it wouldn't re-trip. I'm like, "God dang it." So I called the electrician. I hear music in the background. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Drinking beer on my deck in the Ozarks." I'm like, "You got anybody? I got a problem." He goes, "Tuesday." And I'm like, "They ain't going to work. Let me look." He goes, "I'll have a guy over there in an hour and a half. It isn't going to be pretty, and it's going to cost you." And I said, "I know." So he got out, got the breaker replaced, but we need to rewire that whole area and put more,
just too much juice
stuff in. So
drawing too much
juice, and so we're dealing with the same way. We're delayed once again on supposed to start tearing out the floor on the new restaurant on Tuesday. Now that's delayed to Thursday. So
what's the delay on that?
Yay.
Weather.
Okay. Even though it is
getting
inside.
delayed on other jobs.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And I'm
like,
I'm like, but my job's inside. And so now we found out that now we just poured new concrete outside, and now they got to turn around and tear it back up, because they didn't, when they when they just replaced about 3 months ago, they replaced a sewer pipe. They only put 2-inch pipe in, and it wasn't big enough for what I'm putting in. So now we get to re-tear up the concrete that we
Holy
just poured.
fuck.
Oh, yeah. You know, what the hell? It's only money, right? Time and money.
Is it $5,000 or 50,000?
No, this one's not 50.
This is not a 50
that's good.
deal.
No, this one's not a 50 deal.
Okay,
They haven't
that's
told me,
good.
but it's not. It won't be 50.
Good.
Okay.
They just got to cut out 8 feet of it all the way out, so it won't be 50. But she's pretty much gutted. I got to figure out now. I looked yesterday. I'm like, oh shit, because I'm putting a brand new walk-in cooler. That was the fun part of this week. So I want to put a new walk-in. I'm like, screw it. Just going to put a new walk-in cooler outside. We'll cut a hole in the building and walk out to the walk-in cooler. We're just going to do it right. So I got a guy that working with me, and he goes, well, the county wants a permit. And I said, ask the county what kind of permit they want. And so he comes back and he goes, they're not sure what permit they want. And I'm like, what? They don't know what kind of permit they want? No, they just want a permit. Oh, well, that's interesting. They just want money. So they finally decided they want a permit. Well, then the new young gun there, the civil engineer, said, well, we're going to have to redraw this site plan. And I just exploded on him. I'm like, there's not a fucking chance for a walk-in cooler. We're going to redraw a site plan. He goes, don't worry, Darren, I got it handled. I was already at the engineer's office, and he's already just put it on the site plan and redid the drawing. It's already done. It's getting submitted. Only going to cost you a couple $100 to redo the drawing. And I'm like, just, you wonder why nothing ever gets done. I'm the government, and I'm here to help.
Amazing. Just fucking amazing.
Amazing.
And then
just for a walk-in cooler that is on the inside, and all I'm doing is moving it to the outside. Right?
Darren,
that's the only change.
Let me ask you this. Do you think with what you're going through, you figure out and you knew this anyway, and I think I kind of knew it, but didn't know it was to this magnitude, about, somebody that knew they run a restaurant, but weren't in the all of this stuff. And then say they bought that restaurant. Don't you think that's why they fail early, is because they've had to spend so much money on all this bullshit stuff, like, changing a door and having to pay for this and having to bust open the sidewalk, the driveway again. Because
there is no doubt that happened. I see that a lot. I see that a lot of, you wonder why. This would be a simplistic thing, right? When I went in, it's simplistic. You throw a little HVAC system on the roof and you put a slap of paint on it, and a month you're open, right? And that's giving it a lot. Well, it doesn't work that way. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and it's just cost. Every time you turn around, and it's delay. And you wonder why you see so many people that, they go into a business and they have no clue what they're about to hit. So you either spend the money up front and hire an architect and a general contractor and pay them big money up front to tell you that you're going to spend a lot of money, or you go it alone and you're going to spend the same amount of money. You just don't know about it necessarily up front. Right. So you can figure out what this is up front by spending a lot of money with architects and engineers and all that stuff, or you can just figure it out as you go. But no matter what, you're going to spend a lot of money.
And that gets into their operating money, or, the money that they've saved and got operating loans on and stuff. So when they finally get it done, they don't have much wiggle room. They can't fuck up anything because they don't have any. They've used up all their money.
Oh, there is no doubt. You take the number. You take the renovation number that I thought I was going to spend, and it'll be times 3, and it might be times 4 by the time I'm done.
Is that right?
But but it's okay. I mean, I can swallow that. Okay.
Right.
And I can swallow that because we're a big corporation and we can, we won't have to pay my taxes next year, guaranteed.
Right.
Which there's an advantage to that. But most people can't get away with that.
What would that number have been if you just kind of tried slipping stuff through and I mean, you went in there and gutted the whole thing and stuff, but if you'd have just went in there and taken over from them, how much would the number have been to just kind of get it up to somewhat speed to what you need it to be?
Oh,
would it
could have. Oh, I could have ran with nothing. I could have just leased the space and done it.
Well, no,
I could have leased this. I could have leased. I seriously could have went over and just took over operations and been done. I really could have done that. Lease space. But I know enough that in a year I'd be going through what I'm going through right now.
Right. But let me ask you this.
So
if you took and is it once the ownership changes that all the renovations have to be done and you have to get the county involved?
Not necessarily. So what triggered all this to start was a couple of years ago, she needed a new septic system.
Okay.
And the new septic system triggered a site plan. So when you put a new septic system, they said you need a new site plan. So when you need a new site plan, that means you have to bring your entire site that you're on up to plan, which means now where you used to have a gravel driveway, you have to have a concrete driveway. Now, when you put a concrete driveway in that used to be grass or gravel, now that water has to place to flow. So now you have to put a retention pond. And when you put a retention pond in, now it has to filter water so that when water flows into the retention pond, that the water filtering into the retention pond is cleaner coming out of the retention pond than going into the retention pond. Right. And you have to have parking things, and so everything has to come up to code. So where there was 0 trees on this property and 0 bushes on this property, now there'll be 20 trees and 80 bushes to provide shade and to provide ground cover and to provide whatever.
Is this
Makes
because
0 sense?
The county's making you do this.
The county makes you do that. The county, because that's the rules. And it makes no sense at all. I mean, even the site plan for this thing is so, and the county will tell you, you get the guys to the side, it is so stupid. They have us planting trees on top of all the electrical and plumbing lines on the main lines. Now, nobody in their right mind would ever do that because the roots of the trees are going to go down and infiltrate that stuff and cause problems. Right?
Sure.
But that's what the site plan says. So I talked to the county. I said, "There's no way." And he goes, "Yeah, just make sure there's trees wherever. Just make sure your number is right. Just make sure you have that amount of trees and that amount of bushes on the site." Well, now we got a new civil engineer in town that says, "Whoa, wait a second. Why didn't you put this here?" So now we're jumping through the hoops and whatever, but that's okay. I mean, they've been very good to work with so far. I haven't had to get nasty with them yet and remind them that I pay their salary, but it might come, might not. We'll see.
But it's still, it just proves to me even more how you see people get into something and then they get in trouble and have to close. Well, they say, they won't last if you last 3 years or something like that. Well, by then you've went through all your operating money or borrowed money you got and you've maxed that out because you've had to do all this other bullshit and stuff. And then you don't have any money to buy your groceries and stuff. And you've been closed. How long do you think you'll be closed?
Well, I'm hoping best case scenario now we're beginning of July. So she closed the end of April. So, you got May, June. Hopefully, we're going to get her done in 60, 70 days.
So getting those customers that she had because she had such a good business, getting those customers to come back. Now, you've got some, a lot of the customers and stuff, and I'm sure you've got a plan to get those back. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there that if they had to go 90 days without, they went someplace else. And then what are you
Yeah, they
going
went
to do?
somewhere else. Matter of fact, I've been going to the cafe where a lot of them went.
Okay.
Right. And so I go there every day for breakfast, and I've become friends with the owner there.
So,
and
but you still got to figure.
She goes, I'm a little worried about when you open up because I'm going to kind of show a little decrease. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, and everybody I talk to, when you open it, when you open it, when you open it. I'm like, well, trying to work as fast as we can, but it truly is a hurry up and wait type thing. And it'll be what it'll be. But I tell you, when it'll be done, it'll be right. It'll be up to code, and it'll be amazing. Right.
Nobody's going to give you any shit.
It'll be lined out the door. I guarantee it will be lined out the door. We will not be able to keep up. There is no doubt in my mind because there's no place around this. It's kind of like we've designed like Smokey D's. There's no place around there. We don't have another restaurant within 2 miles.
Right.
There's no restaurant here within 2 miles. I mean, there's just nothing around. It's the local place by design. That's why it's so attractive of a place.
Right. Yeah. Just confirms what I've always thought about what causes people to go belly up. And I'm sure there's other reasons in there, but hearing the stories you're talking about, how much you get all wrapped up in this stuff, it'd be obvious.
Oh, I couldn't imagine if we were having to finance. We're not. We're financing this ourselves. We're not having to go to a bank.
Yeah, and
I can't imagine going to a bank and financing this.
Well, most banks won't finance a restaurant.
I mean, I'm having to go to Sherry and say, hey, baby, can I?
But there's a lot of banks. They'll do just about anything, but they won't finance a restaurant.
Yeah,
my banker's always said he goes, don't ask because I can't do it.
Just don't ask.
He says because my board of directors won't let me do it. Yeah. He goes, even though it would have worked. So when we started, we kind of did it on our own. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So
got a
we
lot
actually have a
settled
little
there.
bit of we actually have a topic this week, surprisingly.
Well, I think we had several nice topics.
Well, yeah, but we had one planned. Took us 36 minutes to get there, 37. But
okay,
normally does.
I thought we would actually answer some questions that got sent in from some listeners.
Podcast, usually conversations.
What do you guys think about that?
You blacked out. I didn't hear it.
Oh, no. I knew this was going to happen. Anyway, what did you guys hear?
Nothing.
Any of it?
We heard, what do you think about that?
Oh, okay. So we got some questions sent in from some listeners that I thought you guys could answer.
Okay.
I tried to set them up and group them. So a lot of them are about, the cooking process, retherming, all that good stuff. And some other stuff are about menus. But, yeah. So I thought with, talking to the restaurant, we should do menus first.
I like menus because I'm working on menus hot and heavy right now.
Yeah. So this one was probably my favorite. I thought it would be a good topic because we get info from both of you. But can you give us some info on like menu building to maximize profitability? And they asked for the perspective both from Darren and from Randy because the scale of your guys' business is so different. So how do you maximize? Yeah, when you build a menu, how do you maximize, profit on that?
And typically I'm dealing with a food truck.
Right.
And I'm looking at, my biggest problem with a food truck is I don't have much room. Space is so I can't have 20 different proteins or several different proteins on there. What proteins I have, I need to be able to change them, just like we've got pulled pork on the truck. So what else could we use it in? We use it in Big Mac Daddy, which is macaroni and cheese with pulled pork on it. So we're using, not having to put another one in. Then we're using it in the Porkinator. Same thing. So, and then with our burn-ins, we're using burn-in sandwiches, and then we're using the farm, which is our potato casserole that we sell a lot of on plates and stuff. We're using that burn-in, that potatoes in the farm. And so when I'm looking at something, we're looking at bringing on a new item, and my first question that I have to sit down and think about is, where am I going to put it? You know, I've only got one holding cabinet. I've only got so much room in a steam wells. Where am I going to hold it, and hold it at a good keep it in good quality? It's turkey. I'd like to bring turkey on, but I just can't figure out where the hell I can put it. I mean, on busier days when we load up that that warming cabinet, we'll have 2 full-size restaurant pans, extra deep full-size restaurant pans full of ribs. We'll hold them in there. And then we've got all of our meat and an order of a pan of baked beans for backup. And then we've got, so now we're using so much cheese sauce, we'll have an extra pan of colander of cheese sauce in there. So, I mean, I'm running out of space. And that's how I kind of look at, you know, what kind of things we need to do, what kind of menu on the truck.
I don't think that changes with scale, though, because we're the same exact way. So, you know, somebody says, "Hey, let's do this." You know, the most important thing, like for instance, is we're building this breakfast menu, right? I'm looking at every single item that we're bringing onto this breakfast menu, saying, "How do I use this same item multiple times?"
Right.
Right. So, like, I want to bring avocados on the menu, right? Avocados are expensive, right?
Their shelf life is not very good.
Well, you know, it's better than you expect, right?
Avocados
are actually super easy. You keep them out until they're ripe, and then you put them in the refrigerator. And once you put them in the refrigerator, they stop ripening.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yeah. But don't they, but like more of it like isn't it when, like once you cut it, you only have
once
so
you cut
long
into
to use
it,
yeah.
Once you cut into it, it's crap.
So you have to use
it's
the
not
whole
crap,
thing.
but right, which we're going to use a half avocado at a time. So you do have a risk of losing a half avocado. But, you know, so it's like, okay, you know, so I like the idea of an avocado toast or an avocado toast melt for breakfast. But now I'm going to put the avocado into a healthy sandwich, you know, a turkey bacon ranch avocado sandwich. Normally I wouldn't put an avocado on there, but I want avocado, so I need to introduce avocado onto there, or an eggs Benedict that has chorizo and whatever, and pico de gallo and avocado on it, right? So I can get 4 or 5 uses out of that avocado, which helps me turn that avocado thing. Same thing, pico de gallo. How do you do it? You don't want it on there for just one item.
Right.
So I think that's the most important part when you're designing that menu, is you're looking across and saying, how many ways can I use that simple ingredient? And not just an avocado or pulled pork, but a spice or anything when it comes to sour cream or a base ingredient. You don't want to use a base ingredient once. And so you want to figure out how to use it multiple times or don't use it, right? That's why when we first started Smokey D's, you know, that's why barbecue rub is in almost every recipe we do. So instead of using salt and pepper and paprika and whatever and sugar in all these recipes, everything we do, you know, our mac and cheese, our queso, our potatoes, everything has barbecue rub as an ingredient. And now barbecue rub is getting so damn expensive that I wish it wasn't an ingredient. You'd like to undo that. But since it's that way, it's just lay it all out and kind of come down to your lowest common denominator of things and say, how many times can I use this? Because if you're only using something once, chances are you don't want it on the menu.
And then you're going to have it.
That makes sense.
If you have space for it, then you're going to have some kind of loss and stuff because you're not going to be using it that much.
Well, like Randy, you got the holding cabinet, but can you so when you go out, like your mac and cheese and queso, you put you load everything up in your holding cabinet, and then when you get out there, Oh, you do load up your steam wells too.
Yeah, the steam wells are loaded, maxed out too. So
right. So the question is, can you put your second round that's going in the steam well in a Cambro?
yeah, we could, and we've done
if
that.
If you put your second round that's going in the steam well and keep the stuff that's going to get used last in your holding cabinet, that way it holds. That way your stuff in the Cambro is only going to be there for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
It's still going to hold. And then the stuff that's in the warming cabinet, of course, will hold because it's mechanically held.
And then we could maybe slip that turkey in there.
Maybe slip that turkey. Turkey's good. Turkey's popular. I think you'll find the women will love the turkey. I mean, it's whether it's a turkey sandwich or a turkey. Our turkey club is a great seller.
Turkey club is good.
And our
oh man,
you talk about women loving it. We're typically in the medical district and in the office districts in Springfield.
Oh, you'll sell the shit out of it.
And our typical, I say, we'll go 80% females to 20% males.
Yeah,
I want to come work on the food. I want to come work on the food truck.
Okay,
$500. $500.
Okay. The grill for 2 days on the food truck, and I'll replace your fans.
You're getting closer. Again, we'll have to talk offline, but we'll...
Oh, jeez. So I think that kind of along that same process, I think that kind of goes into this next question. So when you're building a new menu item, obviously you want to see what you have, but and obviously if it tastes good, but like what else is in that process? You know, the food sourcing, costing, creating process for like the assembly and stuff. Can you guys kind of give us a step-by-step of what that looks like?
Well, you got to look at first. You got to look at the speed. Can you do it?
Right.
I mean, everything to us is speed. You know, I am like infatuated with this damn Korean breakfast sandwich. I am just infatuated with this Korean breakfast sandwich, and I really want it on the menu, but I'm not sure it's going to get on the menu.
Right.
You know, there's just a lot of things that I want to do a thick cut brioche bread, but I can't buy that bread. So I'm going to have to either bake the bread, which is out, I think, or I'm going to have to buy an unsliced bread and slice it myself and then figure out. And then now I'm creating a different style of egg that somebody has to stir all the time to make it. I just don't know that can make the menu, even though I really wanted to make the menu. It can't. So you got to think about that entire process and how can you knock that out. But, you know, I mean, I'm always looking at the menu from a standpoint of, you know, what's the customer want? You know, so I reel myself back in saying, wow, I'd really like the Korean breakfast sandwich. And then I reel myself in and said, wow, 80% of my clientele is probably over 60 years old. They don't give a shit. They don't even know what a Korean breakfast sandwich is. Exactly. Now, you still need to attract the young people in.
Right.
Right. But, you know, I think you got to pick your approach. And our approach now is the economical old school breakfast. And there's no Korean breakfast sandwich on an old school breakfast. Right. It's eggs, it's bacon, it's sausage, it's Benedict's, it's loaded skillets or hash browns or whatever you want to call it. There's no room for that. But you can load a hash brown 50 different ways and people are going to love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's fun.
Avocado toast is going to be a stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But by God, it's going to be on there because I like it.
I don't know if it's going to be as big of a stretch as you think. I feel like it's like a healthy alternative.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put tomatoes and feta cheese and pickled onions on it, though.
Still, they still look at avocado toast as a healthy alternative.
Yeah.
Compared to most things. So I feel like it might be more successful than you think. I had avocado toast yesterday. It was delicious.
Well, and we're no different than you, Darren. It's kind of funny you said that. I mean, when we're looking at a new item, we too look at it, how fast can we get it out? and how will it fit into our process, our whole, from the order coming in to the guys being able to prep it, put the garnish on it, put the condiments on it. Does it take will it flow? Or are we going to have to turn around and do something with a flat top or do something else on the prep table, And, but along with that, I look at costing it out and, costing it out and seeing if realistically we can make any money at it. In years past, I've taken and go, oh, that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and do that. And we do it. And then I cost it out after we've had it on the truck for 2 months and people like it. And we're only making 20 cents, So one of the first things
Don't you want to try to avoid that? Yeah.
One of the first things, yes. And because that's what I'm saying now, when we look at something, the first thing I do is cost it out. So we have the idea of what it's going to cost us, and then what can we actually sell it and people will buy it because of a price point.
Right. Yeah, an interesting thing on pricing so I was looking at this thing called the Carney Platter, which the Carney Platter was a longtime favorite at this cafe we bought, right? And so it's a big old order of hash browns with a choice of meat with peppers and onions and cheese served with eggs and toast. And so, and I don't have the exact sitting in front of me without digging it out, but as I'm costing this thing out, right, it costed out, and I'm just rounding stuff off, but I cost it out at like $3 and something. From a cost perspective. And so I ran it through and said, wow, if that comes out at, if it was $3 and comes out at a breakfast restaurant, 25% food cost, I got to sell that thing for $12.
Right.
Right. And so then I started looking at the half portion, and the half portion is in essence half. It's really $1.50, but I said, well, I'm not going to cut the piece of toast in half or whatever. So it was, but it was mainly that. But so, instead of $3, it's probably going to be $1.75. So I'll do that. $1.75 divided by at that same cost is $7. Right. So now I got the half portion. I could price out at $7 and be at 25%. Well, I'm like, well, if I'm selling the big for $12, I'm selling the small for $9.99 all day, right? And people are buying that small at $9 all day long,
right?
And I'm making a huge. Now my sales aren't as good, but I'm making the profit margin on the half portion is huge, and we've talked a lot about that with my nachos and whatever. And so as I start to look at all this menu, this half portion is going to be super important because people don't want a lot to eat, right?
They don't want the full platter.
They don't want the full platter. So I think everything we're going to do here, the eggs Benedict. You can get 2 eggs Benedict and hash browns and whatever, that would be 2 eggs Benedict and hash browns will be X, or you can get 1 eggs Benedict and a half order hash browns, which to me is what I'd order all day long.
Right.
And I can produce that for half the amount of money, but I can charge just 25% less and put that other 25% in my pocket.
Exactly.
And I think that will be very, very successful. And so like when I made the smash burger the other night, Sherry and I made a smash burger and because being on this, trying to lose weight and stuff, but she was in the mood for something different. I said, I'll just make a simple smash burger. So I took 2 2-ounce patties, a burger. I smashed them. We double stacked them. I didn't put cheese on it, put some lettuce, a little burger sauce, whatever. And we had this most amazing burger on this slider bun. Now, it wasn't a huge burger, but it was a really nice, and I was that and a little scoop of macaroni salad, and I was totally fine.
Right.
So do I do a burger like that and call it the Inflation Buster and sell it for $5? And if you want a second one, I'll get you 2 of them for $8 or $9 and just print money. But the senior citizen buy it for $5 and I'm still going to get 25% food cost out of the thing.
Sure you are.
You know, so do you do that or do you do like everybody else? No, I'm not going to do like everybody else that just charges for a burger and charges $15 with a side, you know, but I'm like, do you keep the portions small? Because that's what they want. The older people want smaller, you know. Now you can go supersize if you want, just order 2 of them. And it's enough value that if you can order 2 of those burgers at $5 with a side for $3, you're at $13. Now you got more than you would get anywhere else for $15 at $13.
Oh.
But the half portion, I think, is big. I think the half portion is huge. I think the half portion is, we talked about doing that at Smoky D's, but it's just almost impossible to do.
Right.
Why is it impossible?
Well, the way our process and the way we portion and retherm and whatever, it's just that half portion is tough.
Yeah.
That half portion is tough.
Huh. Is there anything that you guys have both... Oh, here you go, Randy.
You dropped out, Emma.
Well, I was just going to say, finish what you were going to say.
No, go ahead.
Well, mine is just a different question.
Go ahead.
Kind of off the same kind of topic, but based off all this information, is there anything...
Why is it every time she gets ready to ask a question, her internet goes to shit?
I don't know. My internet is rough
We didn't
today.
get your question.
I haven't asked it yet.
Okay, why don't you
so
ask
there's
it
that.
now?
Okay.
Ask it now. You can talk.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys have like desperately wanted to put on the menu but haven't, just because the fact that it wasn't realistic? You know? I mean, obviously there's been quite a few that Darren have talked about in the past, but Randy, has there been anything that you've wanted to put on the menu and haven't been able to?
Well, I can't think of them offhand. I don't know of any offhand, but I know there has been, and it's just, it won't work for us. You know, whether it be from a financial standpoint and, but mainly from a process production standpoint of, again, you got only so much room in that truck, but I'm sure you're the same way, Darren. Back in your back line at your restaurant, you only got so much room.
Yeah, I mean, right now I want to put beef ribs, and I've done the test, but we've screwed up the testing so many times. If I'm not there watching it,
right,
that beef ribs got to go on the menu, and I'm buying beef ribs cheap, and I have it, and I've got it, and I can produce a beef rib. If I babysit that son of a bitch all the way through, well, I can't design I can't design something that I got to babysit all the way through, because I've designed my restaurant that I'm not an employee there, right? So it's got to be designed that anybody can do it. So we got to take somebody, because there's nothing that I would love more, and maybe we can pull it off, is to run beef ribs on Father's Day, right? I'd love to just fill a smoker full of beef ribs on Father's Day and just knock it out. But that's probably the first time we're ever going to run them. Okay. Now, you really can't screw up a beef rib. I mean, as long as you get it done, you can get it overdone, but it's still good. It's going to fall off the bone. It's going to be great. So I've got about 8 racks sitting in the freezer that I'm going to probably do sometime over the next week or two and try and run it. But like when Father's Day happens, I'm not sure even when Father's Day happens.
I think it's in June, obviously.
You know what? Father's Day is what, the 16th. By God, I'm actually in town, so we might try and pull that off. But even a Texas sliced brisket and whatever, I would love to be able to do that in a limited time, thick sliced brisket. I know we could kick ass with it, bring in even a Wagyu brisket, but we wouldn't sell a ton of it.
Yeah.
There's things like that just cut off the board. We do it in the food truck every day. Not a Wagyu, but we cut all our stuff off the food truck, but it's a very small group of people that are doing it. But you go to 2nd Avenue, Our big restaurant, there could be 10 people that are cutting stuff.
Let's turn around and look at this beef rib deal. How are you cooking that, and what's been the problem with it? If you said it's pretty simple to cook, I mean, are they very time temperature sensitive, or
no? It's just, so what happens is, so of all the testing, the trials and tribulations I've had was I've went and said, okay, let's test this. So I've tested it two ways. You cook it overnight like you do our brisket and burn ends, points, and whatever. Right? You cook it overnight and you pull it at a certain temperature, or you cook it like you do ribs, but you cook it for 5 or 6 hours. So you cook it at 250, or you cook it at 180 to 200 degrees overnight.
Right.
And so when I cook it like a rib, I didn't like the texture. It was too bitey, whatever. I just didn't like the texture. I really like the texture. So the first test when I did it, I took them up to like 207 degrees. And it was just almost mush. Tasted great. Just mush. Couldn't keep the rack really together. So I'm trying to test it where I cook it, take them out, let them sit out for a half hour, 45 minutes, and wrap them in saran wrap so they hold well, put them in the warmer, let them hold all day long. Right? Okay. So I've been testing it that way. Well, then I go in for my second test, and I said, "Hey, let's roll this down to 197. Let's run to 197." So I walk in, and I'm like, "Okay, let's put these in at night. Let's put them in." And I didn't even have the smoke the way I wanted it, because I would throw some. We always use cherry wood, but for this, I'll take it outside to a smoker and throw some pecan or oak or hickory or whatever to it. Throw a little bit more smoke on that beef rib. So I ran through the process. Everybody knows what's going on, right on the board, whatever. And so I get in there in the morning, which is 5:30 in the morning. I said, "Hey, how are we sitting on the beef rib?" "Well, they were at 185 a couple hours ago." "Okay. And you turned up the smoker?" "Well, we haven't checked them yet." "Oh, so they were 185 2 hours ago, and we haven't checked them yet." "Okay, so let's go look." And now they're at 208, 209 degrees. So failed test.
You're back to test one.
We're back to test one. Okay, so now we go through the entire process again. And it's not like you're just testing these every day. So it's like, okay, 3 days. Okay, now we got an opportunity. Now I'm babysitting. Now I'm writing bigger letters and taping on top of the smoker. Hey, if you're going to turn up this smoker, then, it's like kindergartners. I said, hey guys, they're here in the morning. I said, if I need to get some big crayons and a big chief tablet, so a big chief tablet to write down, let me know, but we're going to shoot. So we shot him to 190. Well, I purposely skipped breakfast. I know. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I skipped breakfast to make sure I could monitor these things. And I monitor them, and everything was good. And it was a very much a success.
Wrapping them in saran wrap.
And wrap them in saran wrap, and I let them sit in the warmer for whatever. And I wanted to play with retherming them too. So I said, when I did the 197, I took them out and I said, okay, I'm going to put one rack in the warmer. When they get done, I want you to wrap these and put in the warmer. I want you to put one in the cooler, and I'm going to retherm it. Well, then I get a call from the manager that afternoon and says, "Hey, what do you want me to do with this rack of beef rib that's in the warmer?" And I'm like, "What do you mean the one that's in the warmer? I already took the one in the warmer off." "Well, no, there's one in the warmer." I said, "Well, is there one in the cooler?" "No." So they took the one out of the cooler, they cooled it down, put it in the cooler, and then put it in the warmer. Okay. So anyway, just a little communication, so because I thought if I could retherm it and do a good job in the CVAP of retherming that rib, then I could just devote a day, the day before Father's Day or whatever, I could just knock all that out and cook them all exactly to where I wanted. So I was touching every single one of them, and then cool them down, and then just retherm them, and off we go.
What would be, for the people that are listening and say they want to cook some for Father's Day, In your opinion,
Yeah.
what's the magic number to cook them to?
I liked running them overnight, and so we loaded those things about 3:00 in the afternoon. They came off about, I don't know, 5:00 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And we pulled them off at 197. It's really a feel thing. It really is a feel thing. And we just put, the first time we put salt and pepper on them, salt, pepper, a little garlic on them. The next time I actually put our barbecue rub and then added pepper to it, and they were really good too.
Okay.
The one thing I haven't figured out is, they come with a little skim of fat on top of them, and when you go to cut them, that fat tends to shake off.
Right.
If you turn that rib over to cut it.
It's
almost like you want to. It's almost like you want to trim that visible fat on the top off, because otherwise it's going to come off anyway. And there's a little talent, because you got 4 bones in that rack. One of them you're going to get a little bit of meat off of, and then you get 3 bones. That one you're going to get 3/4 of meat, and then you're going to get 2 really good bones. So you kind of got to cheat the way you cut it on the line so that you get 3 good bones.
Right.
Hey guys, it's Editing Emma. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but we ended up losing Darren. I was the one with all the technical difficulties, and we ended up losing Darren's video and audio for like the last 10 minutes of the episode. So I'm going to change the outro up, and it's just going to be me. And yeah, so with that, you know what to do. Follow us on social media if you haven't, at Cue the Mic Pod. Find us on YouTube at Cue the Mic Podcast if you want to watch. Subscribe, do all the things, leave comments, the drill. And yeah, I think that is it for episode 58. As Randy would say, boom, see ya. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.